Hello, and welcome back to, now we have been asked to do some panel discussion between two of our speakers today. And we have two speakers who have agreed to talk. We have Artjoms from also, and we have Mariusz from Clico Flowmon. And we will just discuss what are the biggest IT security challenges nowadays, how the world is changing, how government and in local and even European and global markets try to also understand how it is important and try to regulate it. So maybe I will give a word to Mariusz now. So what, in your opinion, are the biggest challenges nowadays with the security in IT, cybersecurity?
Thank you. There are many challenges. The challenges are related to the common operations of the organization that the customers, from our point of view, from our perspective, customers are struggling, for example, with the ransomware that disturbs the common operations of the company. And the another area that we see the challenges is the cybersecurity law. The GDPR for the personal data protection and the NIS directive that should be adopted in the national law of European Union countries this year, that requires from operators of essential services and the providers of critical digital services appropriate level of protection. And this kind of protection touches the most sensitive element of the organization, the critical systems. The critical systems that are required for the proper operation of bank, proper operation of hospital, generally speaking healthcare, the proper operation of industrial networks, for example, power station, energy company, the water supply company, critical infrastructure. So NIS directive, it is the big challenge. It requires risk management at the, let's say, C-level, the strategy level, risk management at the middle level, and also the operational risk management that is extremely difficult to conduct for a critical system and the surrounding systems. What means risk management at the operational level and who is doing this? Nowadays, almost nobody, because it requires a lot of work. What this means practically, for example, there is the vulnerability management. We run the scanner and the scanner discovers 2,000 vulnerabilities. Thus, the administrator look at every vulnerability and estimate the potential business damage of this particular vulnerability? No. So there is the requirement that for the compliance requires a lot of effort and appropriate tools. The tools where the business impact analysis is conducted automatically. Also for the incident management, the firewalls, antivirus, anti-malware, generally speaking, generates a lot of alerts. And who is analyzing the business impact? The business impact is seen after the breach. When the incident is changed into the security breach, for example, the business processes are disrupted or the sensitive data is stolen from the company, then we see the business impact. But the business impact should be conducted before. So it is the only way, first of all, to be compliant with the new cybersecurity law, and also the only way to avoid serious consequences.
Thank you, Mariusz. I'm just thinking with all these new regulations and everything, and Artjoms, you said in the very beginning of your presentation that services outsourcing is cheaper than to have specialists on site and within companies. But then when you think about the amount of services and things that now the government and all the laws are pushing to companies. You need to have this, you need to be compliant with GDPR, you need to be compliant with the new one, the NIS. Then you have very many other things that you need to do. Then you want to protect your company's data, you want to protect your customers' data. And then I'm just thinking, with all of this, and you are a service provider, so you should know, isn't the IT services becoming more and more expensive? Because the law and legislation and all the regulations just pushes companies to buy more of the security services and any IT service in general.
So speaking about does it become more expensive? Definitely, it's like so a normal business, and because this is because so a lot of compliance stuff, as you mentioned, coming from the one hand. From the other hand, we see the great changes in technologies. This is what I also mentioned during my presentation. So in the last 2 years, so none of companies were really thinking about artificial intelligence. It was something for the major players, Google, Amazon, Apple, whatever. Yeah. Now, almost every company, even here locally, have heard of artificial intelligence. Wow, this is a great thing. So we need to somehow adapt it. Yes, we need to take part. Maybe there's new technology which can even better assist our day-to-day business. But this is a matter, so this is new technology. We need to protect it. To protect it, we need to have a specialist who are so certified with big knowledge, so with at least some experience dealing with this new technology disruption and new technologies. And sure, so the security business becoming more and more crucial. That's why the demand for security is more and more. It's like simple economics. With the more demands, the bigger the prices. So and I completely agree with Mariusz, as mentioning all these challenges and all this that we need to also evaluate impact on business. And very few companies nowadays do it. And we see that. So security is the thing we can't calculate return on investment. Yes, it's like every time you're putting more and more money in security, you don't know will it be some return or it's so you will just investing, you're feeling safe, protected, and then something happens. And speaking about the regulation, also one thing I wanted to mention is still we have this new regulation, we have GDPR, we have NIS, but if we are thinking about what they're about, they're lagging behind like 5 years maybe. So we have used all this technology for years already, and it's time to make some regulations. And so my personal belief is that we will have GDPR version 2 in like a couple of years, because shift was so drastical and so dramatical that we need new regulation to manage all the technology shifts.
But all these regulations, they are also kind of like working at risk, because if company doesn't have money to implement everything or to make sure of the every smaller, tiniest detail, then basically it's a call from the managers that we know that this potentially might cause a risk, but then they start to calculate, is it cheaper to buy all the software and protection and everything and then to sleep good at night? Or then again, they calculate what is the potential possibility if the risk or breach will happen, how much it will cost me, and sometimes maybe they decide to go for the other option, because maybe the probability to actually get or occur in a breach is not so big. Maybe they don't sleep so well at night, but still, this is a calculating game. It's all about money.
Maybe I could add, so with speaking about data protection, so in Latvia we have this national data protection law, even before GDPR, and it was so since Latvia became independent. Yes, we have all these rules, but so the maximum impact the company could have is like 14,000 euro fine. Yes, for a retail company, it's like 2 hours of work to receive. So that's why. So we have all the compliance rules before. Yes, but the fines were so small that so companies didn't take it seriously. For them, it's like 14,000. Okay, for 14,000. Yes, it's okay. We can pay it. Yeah, now we have potential 20 million or 4% from global revenue, and now it became more important because the risks is much more higher. Yeah, and we just can't leave it so the same security technology is the same security measure as we had before. Yes, so yes, we had all the regulation were already. So it's a matter of fine which part of risk would you take.
I agree with you. That's that GDPR and the new cybersecurity law enforced by European Union opened the eyes of decision makers, and the security is not only some kind of insurance, but also the obligation, the law obligation with severe consequences if the law would be broken. But I think that still the main motivator for security is the business effectiveness. The companies look at the law requirements. They are emerging, I could say. There is something new. Some decision makers still do not understand that the law requires the security. But the cost effectiveness, as was mentioned by our moderator, is something that is for many years existent in the companies. And I think that for many, many years in the future, we will have the calculations if the security is something really required. Security, I mean the low security, the middle, the enrichment of security with some additional tools like CM, like UIBA, like vulnerability management. Every level of security improvement means for the organization additional costs, and also for the organization it means the assurance. So assurance that the business processes would work in an appropriate way, that the business processes would not be disrupted, that the sensitive data would not be stolen, that, for example, GDPR consequences would not be enforced on our company. So from one side, we see the business impact of potential security breaches, and the other side is the costs. Cost of the deployment, design, operations, education, integration, and so on. So it is some kind of balance between the costs and the benefits. Of course, we could say that it's very difficult to estimate the real benefits of security. But it is the role of good consultants, it is the role of experts, it is the role of a security awareness program dedicated for decision makers. Many analysts think that first security awareness training should be conducted for the board of directors, for the CEO, for the president of the company, for the other people who from the decision-making point of view are the most important. They should understand why they need security, and in the company strategy they should set appropriate level of security that is required for the company based on the business impact analysis and based on the cybersecurity law like GDPR and NIS directive requirements. It is the normal, it is the, I will use the word common sense, that we treat the security as the natural process available in the company, and the cost of this process depends on the first business requirements and also the law requirements. And as I said, it is the role of security experts and also business-aware decision makers in the security area to set the appropriate level of security for the company and then adjust the operational processes to be compliant with this security level.